And it hit us also suddenly that it was like, what is going on? What is this? Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mide if you're new here, and today I'm going to be talking about things that mothers, dads and moms are to be looking out for in their child, okay, in their children if you have more than one. The points I have are points that I'm going to be buttressing with my experience, probably stories, in order for you to understand what I'm talking about. I know quite alright that homes are not the same, they are different, and it actually depends on who is available to the children. These are the things that you should take note of, according to the milestone in your child's life, the stages where they are. One of the things that you want to know that you should hear is that you need to pay attention to what your children are not saying to you. Okay, the very first time I experienced this is from my daughter. It's going to be 5 in the next few months. Once in a while she talks about the other children in class and she mentioned names. After some time I was able to identify the children in her class according to their name from what she talks about, her description and what those children do. She started calling a name that I wasn't hearing before, and when I asked whether the child is new, she could not tell me. I found out from the teacher that the child is actually new, but ever since the very first time I heard the name, she kept talking about it. She was like, the boy calls her all the time, disturbs her, and I was like, how does he disturb you? He calls my name, he touches my hair, he pulls my hair, he pulls my ribbon. I really did not read meaning into it until I witnessed it myself. They had a party in school and she was dressed in a traditional attire. We were just standing to take pictures of her when this boy came around, was looking bigger and taller than she is. As we were talking, I heard the boy called her name and went straight to her neck and held on to her neck this way. I had to pry it open, but I didn't want to hurt him. I did not know why he had to do that. I became alarmed. I called the attention of the teachers around to let them know that what is going on, what is wrong. Now I know why my child has been talking about this boy. After I called the teacher and demanded for an explanation, it happened that the boy, the new child in class, has slight autism. The boy is autistic, but it wasn't severe. So I knew that it wasn't the boy's fault, okay, what he did. And they were able to tell me that he just likes her. He calls her name all the time. When we got home, I explained to her that whenever he's calling you, try to answer him. And I was also told that when they close, the boy calls Chi, bye, Chi, good morning, and then she felt that he was disturbing. So I had to explain to her, respond to him when he's talking to you, but make sure that if he's pulling your hair or any other thing, make sure that you complain to your teacher. And believe me, afterward, things became better. Another thing that you want to make sure that you're aware of or paying attention to is when your child is hitting puberty, there are so many things that is going to be experiencing. His hormone is going to skyrocket and is going to be overly aware of the opposite sex, as well as ignoring some things that are changing in his body, all because he or she is not familiar with it, the experience that comes along with it. I'm going to explain this to you, according to the experience I had in this area. When my son hit puberty at the age of 10, and it started, his body odor became so much and so strong, and it hit us also suddenly that it was like, what is going on? What is this? Is this you? Are you the one that I'm perceiving? You can imagine the child is not aware that whatever is coming out of his body is offensive. I did what I thought was necessary by making sure that he has roll-on and he has perf. but it is not enough to just provide roll-on and body spray or perfume. You have to let your child to be aware of his personal hygiene. Do not forget the fact that aside from these physical changes that you're going to be seeing, there are internal changes that are taking place that you need to be aware of as well. My experience in this area was when my son will come home from school and he will kind of talk about what happened in the school bus. He wasn't really relating it to his body odor, and he definitely did not know that his body odor is so strong that it was affecting the other children. Based on what he was saying, I was able to deduct that it was affecting the other children close to him. And unfortunately, he's the type that gist and talk and hold and hug people around him. The first thing I took note of was from his experience in the school bus. He said when he sits down, he sits close to the window, he kind of raises his hand up. You know, he will put it at the back of the child next to him and he will continue to talk. He noticed that the person close to him usually takes offense when he does like that, put his hand at his back, and he was wondering why it should be so, because this other person does it as well and all the time. So he didn't understand why he could not do it. When he told me this, I could perceive exactly what he was trying to tell me. What I did was to give him a sample size perfume to refresh himself with when they close from school. But unfortunately, the school does not allow such thing. The school does not allow phone, they don't allow gadgets, and they don't allow something like perfume or body spray in the child's bag. We hit a block in that area and I kind of like relaxed. I didn't know what else to do until he came home one day. He was offended, he was not looking happy, and he told me that he changed his sitting position. He started sitting with other children. So if your child is hitting puberty, these are the changes that you need to pay attention to, and you need to be able to handle it and take care of it for them. Okay, be it a boy or a girl, they definitely do not know how to go about it, because these are things that are new to them. They are kind of used to the way that they have been handling things way before them. Okay, so we made rules and I gave him instruction that he's not going to be wearing his shirts twice. He's going to make sure that he takes his bath in the morning and at night before he goes to bed. And during the day, if he finds himself sweating so much, he needs to go and just clean up. Okay, so I gave him like a piece of cloth like hanky or towel, small towel that he will be using when he is in school. These are things that I know a lot of parents do not see it as something that is necessary for them to go through, and this is something that can bring down your child's self-confidence, and it can affect them emotionally and make them to be overly conscious of themselves, such that they find it difficult to interact with others because the others are rejecting them. Okay, if it were your child that comes home and complain about another child that smells so much in school or in class, you would definitely support your child from separating himself from that child. So whoever is available to pay attention to these children should make sure that he takes note of it. Another thing that I know that we kind of ignore, and I understand quite all right, that see, it is very difficult to have a job and you have children that you have to take care of, especially when both parents are working. The children for sometimes will have to be left alone on their own or in care of another person, and this is something that a lot of people are struggling to do. Okay, I have experienced it. We are sometimes overwhelmed with our work, and when we realize that our child can handle the toothbrush by himself, we tend to just say, go and wash your mouth, do it yourself, that kind of a thing. But since they are new to it and they are usually impatient, they don't get to wash their teeth properly. After a while, I start to notice that my son's teeth start to change color, especially the one that started growing at the front. You know, at the age of 6, their teeth will kind of fall off so that new one can grow. So the two new ones that were growing at the front, he was not brushing it properly, and after a while those two changed color. And by the time I took note of it, okay, though I was watching his mouth once in a while, but I wasn't doing it regularly because I felt that he could do it himself while I do something else or take care of his younger ones. It didn't work out that well, okay. I feel that this is something that you shouldn't leave for them to handle by themselves until you are very sure, maybe at the age of 9 or 10. If the children do not have white teeth or clean teeth, it is part of the things that affects their confidence, and it makes them to be overly conscious of themselves in a negative way. So this is something you have to take note of, no matter how tedious or time consuming it could be, because I know that some children, they just don't want you to wash their mouth for them, but this is something that is important. It's got to be done by us, okay. Another thing that you want to know when it comes to your children is the way that they eat their food. You need to pay attention to the way they eat their food, okay. It could be that they don't like the food. It could be the way the food is being made. So many other things, health and all that. The one that I experienced has nothing to do with their health, okay. It had a lot to do with the way I was making their food, okay. At a point, I thought they do not like pasta, so I stopped making it for them. And I realized I was really missing a lot. I wasn't having too much varieties to put on the table for them. One day, I changed the way I made the pasta. I stopped making it to be so soft, and I started adding enough oil to it. If it is not separated, they won't eat it. So I have caught one of my sons dumping his food in the bin when he got home, and the rest of them have come home with the food intact. They didn't take it, or maybe they will just take little of it. So I didn't know that it was the way I was making it that was affecting them, okay. There was a time I was an administrator in a school, and I've come across a child that does not eat his food at all until I heard from the teacher that he was always bringing the same food to school. Rice. I know that it is not easy, and I know that it is difficult sometimes, okay, but let's try as much as possible. Like, if your child can eat well, there will be no need for you to spend money on medication. And the last thing that I want to talk about that you guys need to hear is the way the children behaves in school. What is happening to them in school, okay. We are not always with them, and I've come to realize that some schools, the teachers kind of try to okay, everything is going on well, everything is all right, but it is not always so. And sometimes they might not even know that what the child is doing is strange, or it is something that he doesn't do at home, okay. My own experience in this area, my child is easily influenced, so I want to make sure that I am aware of the kind of friends that he surrounds himself with, okay. When he was in primary school, his final year in primary school, he was the head boy, okay. So the assistant head boy was his friend. When they were preparing for their exam, the common entrance exam, they were going to school during the weekdays. So one of the days, he told me that after class that they needed to swim, and so I should provide all the necessary things that he would need. And I did that. I did not even question it. I just say it out like, nobody called me to let me know that you people will be doing this. Are you sure that you can do this, or you want to do this? He said he was sure that they were given permission to do it while they wait for their parents to come and pick them after class. So I did that. Then when I went to school to pick him, I noticed that it was just him and the other boy in the pool. So I felt, wow, this is strange. Why would they leave the two of you alone in this whole space on your own? And I had the urge to let the head teacher know about it, and I mentioned it, but unfortunately they were not given permission to use the pool, and it was just an idea that came up between him and the boy, his friend in class. And I felt, wow, in fact it was a serious issue that his badge has to be seized for a while, like it's kind of punishment for him to like think about what he did and all that. So you want to make sure that you know what is going on, the kind of friends they are that surround them, the people he interacts with a lot in class, and if there's any difference in his attitude or the way he talks. Yeah, it could be the way he talks, it could be the way he acts, and the words he says. So these are the things that you want to make sure that you are taking note of. Okay, so one of the things that we help you a lot is to maybe all these pages on Instagram that talks about parenthood, that talks about motherhood and stuff like that. Those are the pages that help a lot on social media, things that I make sure that I pop into and listen and read stuff about experiences of other parents, and this kind of bring you into focus and make you to become aware of some things that you must have been noticing. Okay, you are like unconsciously noticing it, but you are not taking serious, and it could be a serious thing. So guys, that is my take, and that is what I have for you moms and dads today from my motherhood corner, my motherhood journey. So stay blessed, stay beautiful, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.